Back for another creepy adventure in Helbrook? Happy debt-free Halloween. This is episode 5 of The Debt Collector, Helbrook Branch. The end of May, Detective Pluto Eskoy hadn't slept. Not properly. Not since the spring parade. Helbrook PD was hemorrhaging staff again. Half the rookies who transferred in had already resigned. One was last seen crawling into the woods sobbing, muttering something about her smile. He lit a cigarette and stepped into James's office. James, now regional debt manager, barely looked up. "She's moving again," Pluto said, voice sandpaper rough. 3 sightings near Ashvine Street. She left teeth this time. James leaned back in his chair. "You're sure it's her?" "You ever known Mandy Mae to play copycat?" "Fair point." James stood and opened a secure cabinet. Inside was a black briefcase sealed with red wax and a series of warded bolts. It clicked open like it had been waiting. Inside, a gun, ornate, its surface etched with glyphs too fluid to be Latin. Pluto stared. "It's not cursed?" "Everything in Helbrook is cursed. This one's just pointed." James closed the case and slid it across the desk. "What's the payment?" Pluto asked. James hesitated, then smiled faintly. "Let's call it a line item on the mayoral office's Public Risk Mitigation Fund. I'll bill the town. Lower management has already given notice." Pluto arched an eyebrow. "They're already 3/4 into overdraft." James shrugged. "Then we'll compound the liability and restructure at fiscal year end. The supernatural economy's robust. Besides, Ms. Hale is an aristocratic client. Been with us since almost time in memoriam. She'll be getting a special discount on us." Pluto loaded the weapon with the reverence of a priest. "How does a girl become that?" "You mean Mandy Mae?" James asked. Pluto nodded. "Well, it depends on who you ask. I'm asking you, Archer." James let out a short, exasperated breath, settling into the cushioning of his chair, before leaning over his desk. "If you're asking a supernatural bureaucrat like me, then I'd say, she started as a debt," James replied. "Someone gave something up too early. Youth, memory. It twisted. Now she collects what's owed by reaping chaotically across Helbrook." Pluto ran a finger along the weapon's barrel. "And Ms. Hale can't tolerate that, can she?" Pluto said, a strand of sorrow running through his words. "Exactly." James replied, his voice quiet and flat. "Think she remembers being human." James looked toward the window, the ever-present Helbrook fog curling like tendrils of unpaid interest. "I think she remembers what it felt like. That's worse." They sat for a moment, the quiet of Helbrook thick around them. Sometimes, Pluto said, "I wonder if this town is a test, like purgatory, or a vault where the universe stores broken things." James didn't respond immediately. "Or maybe it's just a loophole," he finally said. "A place between payment and consequence." Pluto stood, holstering the gun. "I'll end her, if I can." "If you can't," James asked. Pluto exhaled smoke. "Then I become the interest on someone else's debt." Detective Eskoy left the office, the door clicking shut behind him. Outside, the fog parted just enough to let through the distant sound of humming, high-pitched, childlike. Mandy Mae was waiting,